How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We need to take a look at what's happening in the Bitcoin market, where we're going next, and should you be scared? We're going to be looking at that with Tyler Hill. We'll leave a link to him underneath the channel or underneath this video so you can go check out his channel. There's also a link to Margex underneath the video where you can long and short the market. You can set up trades in just a few seconds, and you don't need a VPN. You also don't need a KYC. They also are doing a huge Caspa airdrop where you can get up to $5,000 in Caspa tokens. Just click the link underneath the video, set up your account, click the button right here, which will allow you to get in on the airdrop, and then you can start earning by trading. Tyler, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. As I said in the intro, we'll leave you linked underneath the video. First of all, thanks for coming back. But second of all, I want to know what you think about this market. We were just talking, and I thought you were saying some pretty good points. So I want to know your thoughts on Bitcoin right now.
Sure. Yeah, the market, kind of where I'm at right now, is that I just feel like it's an overreaction. I think that where we are in the market right now, people are in a perspective in which they're thinking it's terrible, it's bad, it's not good. I mean, the crypto fear and greed index has been sat within fear for several days in a row now. And again, don't get me wrong, I understand, like, people are nervous, people are worried. That big word recession is going around, and people, that obviously incites some type of worry. But at the end of the day, I think most people would agree the economy right now is not in a worse place than it was a year ago for the most part, like for the everyday person. And so I don't think any of these things that are worrying people are actually going to impact most people. I would say a lot of the war talks, a lot of those things have subsided a little bit. They've calmed down a little bit. So things have gotten better. And I think people are just overreacting now personally. Now, you can also start to see that from more of like a fundamental perspective. One thing that I have been paying very, very, very close attention to, and I'll pull it up here, is actually just a couple of different, key models and key pieces of fundamentals that make the picture really clear. So for example, if we go to the crypto fear and greed index on CoinGlass specifically, and we go out to the last year, we spent 42 days in fear in the last year throughout everything that's happened, the inflation, interest rates, war, all this worry, all this stuff. We've only spent 42 days in fear. And if you look at the last month, we spent 23 days of the last month in fear. So half of the fear that we've seen throughout the entire year has been within the last month. And I don't think that's justified. Now, as a result of all of this fear, people are starting to bet now that this market's going to go down. People have it like they're certain that this market's going to go down. You go to something like the liquidation map, for example, you go out to your 30 days. People are betting. You see all of these liquidations that'll happen if this market goes upwards. Those are short traders expecting this market to go down. Therefore, they get liquidated if it goes up. All of these people are expecting this market to go down, or to really go down. Not even just a little bit go down, to really go down. In moments like this, when I think it's an overreaction, I think it's that people are being a little overdramatic. I love buying right now. And so from a fundamental perspective, I think this is a good buying opportunity. From a technical perspective, we are still within the continuation pattern that we've been in. We made a beautiful run to the upside. We're consolidating. We're putting in slightly lower highs, slightly lower lows, staying within the channel. The only time we've ever even lost a channel, we immediately recovered within 24 hours, and we're holding up well. We're seeing things like our RSI get a beautiful recovery. It's sitting well right around the 50% threshold, which historically during bull markets is the threshold that it'll hold at. Look, for example, when we saw this little pullback right here, 50% threshold, 50% threshold. Summer lull of 2021, 50%-ish threshold. So knowing that we're still in a spot in which this is historically on track, it's doing the same thing it always does, I don't see the fear, and I'm buying right now. So no, that was a little long-winded, but I think that we're in a great spot right now.
You're good. So when do you think the market goes up then? Obviously, a lot of it does come down to macroeconomics and what the S&P 500 does, because there's so many hedge funds that are invested in both stocks and then Bitcoin ETFs now. So if they go sell a bunch, then it's going to force down the market. But when do you think we move up again?
So, I mean, history says the fourth quarter of the year, right? And there's, at the end of the day, we're all guessing. We're all just trying to make as best educated guesses as we possibly can. So I couldn't be sure for certain. But what I do know is that if you look at the average monthly returns, and if you look at the average quarterly returns, quarter 4 and quarter 1 are the best quarters within the world of crypto. So knowing that, my general thesis is that people are overreacting. They're too scared. It's not really rational. And I think it's a good time to buy. And I know that quarter 4 and quarter 1 are typically the best quarters in the world of crypto. I would reasonably assume that at some time towards the end of this year, we should start to see this market continue. Now, to what degree? That's always the hard part, and I really don't know. Personally speaking, it's like one of those little conundrums that you'll see within crypto all the time, in which people say the market does the opposite of what you think it will. Because when I look at this market, for example, when I see this, and I see this continue, an obvious, blatant continuation pattern, for me, I would say, well, it's quite clear that at some point towards end of October, maybe November, December, we start trying to break out of this. We start making the moves outside of it, maybe back test it towards December, since December is a little crappy sometimes, and then maybe try to go for one more rally into Q1. It looks obvious to me. But the issue is that anytime anything looks obvious in the world of crypto, it's probably not going to happen. But then I start to wonder, well, is it just me, right? Because everybody's scared. People are shorting the market. People think it's going to go down. So maybe this is the opposite of what everybody thinks is going to happen. And so I'm in a spot where even I don't know. But if I had to make a reasonable guess, right, I would assume that where we are within the next 6 months is going to be better than where we are now. And is there an opportunity that we come back down, we retest 47, maybe we test the bottom side of this again, maybe we double bottom? Are there opportunities for any of that to happen? Sure, there are. But do I think we're about to do this? No. By no means do I think that's going to happen. And so I'd be willing more to bet that we're going to go in the other direction, as simple as that is. So
do you think buyers have a lot of trauma right now, or people that are holding are having a lot of trauma, being that we went all the way up to 73? Now we've just been sitting here for 6 months. So many people are like, oh, I just want 75 again, or 85 before we hit 100. I'll sell some. Or do you think they'll get sucked in by some piece of news and then be like, oh, well, I'll hold for 130 or something like that? Because I do notice some people saying, I just want to sell. Like, I had some big purchase that I was going to wait for. So I put some money in crypto for a couple of years. It's done well, but I didn't get out at the exact top. How are you feeling about that?
I think buyers are bored more than anything. I think a lot of people have bought recently, within the last few months, and it's just not done anything. And so obviously, if you're just funneling money in and you don't have that long-term vision, you just buy, and nothing happens, eventually you're just going to slow down on your buying. Like, I'll just buy more whenever something happens, or I'll sell more if it continues to dump. And so I think the most likely scenario here is that news mixed in with general catalysts within the world, like, interest rates start falling, maybe things get a little bit weird. I personally have a thesis that interest rates dropping isn't going to impact the crypto market as strongly as it impacts the stock market. The reason why I think that is just quite simply because typically interest rates falling are aligned with recessionary talks, right? Things like that. But the reason why people, or the Fed, drops interest rates is because obviously the economy is doing worse. And when the economy is doing worse, earnings go down. The way that you value a company and the way they get their stock valuation is typically based off of earnings. Therefore, it is intrinsic that if they're lowering interest rates as a result of the economy doing worse and earnings are falling, the stock is valued less. That's not how we value crypto. Right. So to me, while everyone thinks that crypto is going to crash if interest rates start falling, like stocks usually do, they usually pull back a little bit, I personally think it's going to perform pretty decently well. And so when you factor in things like that, when you factor in the elections, whatever's going to happen with that, and you factor in the fact that these ETFs and these hedge funds, they're not done yet. They've said it consistently. We're not done buying yet. Sure, there'll be people who want to get out and want to sell. They're not happy. They fell into the FOMO, whatever. When you mix all these things in, yeah, I think we'd be on track to see this market start to push upwards. And it'd be a result of a combination of all those things rather than one more individualized thing that causes the market to go up.
Yeah. I'd love that. You'd love that. I'm sure everyone in the comments would love that, except for the one person saying that the market's going to zero because they missed out or, over leveraged or bought a crappy meme coin with their entire portfolio. Tyler, thanks so much for coming back on the channel. We'll have another video with Tyler later today. But until then, go click the link underneath the video to his channel so that you can watch some more of his videos. Tyler, thanks so much for coming back on.
Appreciate it, man. Every time. Thank you, guys.
Definitely. Oh, and check out the link to Margex in case you want to trade crypto. If you're bullish or bearish, you can check out the link underneath the video. Appreciate it. Bye.